Well, well, well. Well, well, how the tides have shifted. And I come back to now at the turn of the tides. Unbelievable. Tears of joy. Can you believe it? Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe it? That Disney World might actually be going back to kind of normal. We're talking so much stuff today on the live Real Talk. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here. Make sure you're all hitting the like button on your way in if you're watching this on the replay. Thank you for the rewatch as well. Hope you're all having an excellent start to your week because you've got great news. The great news being that Bob Iger, perhaps in my opinion, Disney's best CEO since Roy and Walt, is back in action. He's back, man. Iger is back. Overnight. I wouldn't have thought it was going to be overnight. I thought there was going to be a little bit of like a shift to maybe some new faces, like a shake up in the company if things got bad. I didn't think with the high profit margins and all that stuff that really that was even going to happen. One of the main reasons being, I thought that that's what most companies cared about was the bottom line. So, it's good to see Disney not just caring about the bottom line and saying, hey, guess what? Our brand is losing its value. It might be worth something, but look at these movies, We've talked about this a lot. It's not just Disney parks. You guys gotta remember something. The role of the Disney Chief Executive Officer is not the Disney parks. It's a part of his job. His job consists of now everything, all right? But now it's Disney Plus as well. And that's the new factor in terms of the movies are Disney Plus is maybe the only thing that's, in most people's opinion, like a good product right now. Like Disney parks aren't great product and Disney movies aren't great product because they've had such a flop of movies in the past 4 years. Not just that, but if you look at really the past 2 years specifically, it's been really bad. Really bad. The movies have done terribly. Things like Buzz Lightyear that should have been aces in the hole. Bringing back a character like Buzz Lightyear should have been a no-brainer. How much money but nope. Everything. I mean, think about it. Think about all the movies that came out that you didn't even really like. Everything from Onward moving forward, besides Encanto, basically. I mean, Soul, Luca. There's another one too that was like a glaringly Raya and The Last Dragon. So many of these movies were just so underwhelming and not well received. Raya's great, I love Raya, but it's just weird considering what you'd think that Disney's usually capable of. So a guy like Bob Iger, what's great about Bob Iger is if you remember your Disney history here, he is the guy that acquired all the good stuff that we have now. If you like Star Wars, and you like Marvel, and you like Avatar, then this is the guy to thank for all those things being in the Disney parks. Without him, the rest of these things wouldn't have happened. Galen, how are you doing, sir? I hope everybody's having an excellent day. I am going to just pin a quick comment. We're going to chat for a little while. I'm going to make some coffee today. And later on tonight will be a Lego-filled adventure. But for now, we're going to be doing some open discussion in terms of what you guys, I want to hear a lot of opinions too, and we're going to open it up at different points. But one of the things I'm most curious about are the things that you guys think are going to change, how fast are they going to change, and are these changes going to make the park better? So let's post the links, let's drop a pin, let's put on some tunes. What was I listening to was the Main Street Loop. The parks. Obviously is the thing we care about the most. So let's just talk about the parks, right? The parks are going to see changes. One of the changes that I expect to see immediately, and I'm talking probably by the turn of the year, that's what I consider immediately, reservation system is going to be a thing of the past. It's not utilized anymore, really. You can park hop at 2 o'clock. I think that this idea of not being able to park hop before 2 o'clock is insane. People don't want to have to plan their trips like that, so I think that that is going to be the first thing to go. Happily Ever After coming back is obviously a huge good sign. I think that also a guy like Bob Iger could make the executive decision to say, you know, probably best that a show we spent this kind of money on, like Harmonious, sticks around. We don't just demolish all this right away because it's really not as bad as, you know what I mean? I think in a lot of ways it gets placed into this Chapek era when really Harmonious is probably the greatest thing that's come out of Chapek's entire era. So there are certain things that I hope get a reevaluation, you know what I mean? No, Splash Mountain, Bob Iger was the one that greenlit the Splash Mountain retheme. If I'm remembering correctly. Yep, that's gone. Splash is gone. Rightfully so, right? As we've talked about a million times, there's no point for some racist old ride to be sitting in the Magic Kingdom. Zip-a-doo, no. Hey there, Brer Rabbit. It's like, wow, this thing's for real, huh? This is some... I would love to ride that ride with Dave Chappelle. I'd just like to be like, Mr. Chappelle, would you ride this ride with me for one last time? He'd be like, yes, Tom, I will. Look at this goddamn racist ass bear. Like, you know, it'd be so funny. Come on, man. That Song of the South is like Disney's trying to, they gotta bury that thing. It's about time that thing got buried. Not the greatest depiction of, that's some Jim Crow shit right there. I ain't down with that. That to me is where things get a little bit, I don't know, a little wishy-washy, and I'm a pretty open-minded guy, but Splash, whether it stays, whether it goes, really doesn't matter to me at all, but I can totally understand. Oh God, of course I have Uncle Ruckus, dude. Talk about, like, what is more Jim Crow than that, bro? That guy is a literal, like, he's like a walking stereotype. That guy, poor dude. How did he even hold on to his card after that? You know? No way. There it is, like, that ain't it. America's too progressive, you know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah, Splashes. What's up, Casey? How you doing? Here for the I here for the burning. The burning. You playing God of War, I bet too, right? I know you love that. So let's get back to it, right? Splash is it's its own thing. Park reservation system is going to become most likely a thing of the past, and I assume that it will happen pretty quickly. Let's talk about the other glaring thing that everybody wants to talk about. Lightning Lane, Disney Plus, Genie, all this stuff. Not Disney Plus, Genie Plus, all this stuff. The Lightning Lane isn't going anywhere. Don't forget that every single facade in Walt Disney World has been rethemed with a Lightning Lane logo. Again, this guy is not coming in to he's going to rectify things that can be saved, not just gut things just because that's what he's a smart dude. As he always has been. So he'll come in and try to rectify things instead of gut them. The park reservation system, you have to gut that because there's no rectifying that, right? The only rectifying it would be that if you could make a park pass for a park and then park hop as soon as you got there. But then it would defeat the purpose. It becomes asinine. It's like, but the fast passes always exist. Sure, it was free. Now it's not. He probably likes that. It's a money company after all. Its job is to make money. Its job is to not make less money. Don't expect price increases and all that to not happen. All that stuff should happen, it will happen, and it will continue to happen forever because these places are so cheap compared to how much it's ridiculous. Disney parks should cost twice, 3 times the amount they cost to go to. It's crazy. That's my opinion. It's just my opinion. The value of the company is so beyond worth it. It shouldn't even be comparable to a place like Universal Studios. The price should be ridiculous. If you want to be cheap, you can go to Universal at SeaWorld and Busch Gardens and Legoland. If you want to be cheap and you can't, go do that. If you have to be cheap, even if you don't want to be cheap, guess what? I want a Ferrari. I don't have a Ferrari. I have a Scion TC. That's life, right? Can't all have everything we want. It's this crazy misconception that we're all just supposed to have whatever the hell we want. It's insane. Even if you have a great life, are you kidding me? There's stuff you can't afford and there's stuff you can't afford, right? So it is what it is. The Harry Potter areas are better than anything Disney has done in a long time. No. Diagon Alley has got nothing on Pandora. I mean, not nothing. It's certainly better than I'd say it's on the level of Galaxy's Edge. Pandora is so far and above anything I've ever seen in my life in terms of theming and land-based thing. Are you kidding me? That place at night is it's like another world. Harry Potter's just kind of, and the ride stinks. Screen-based, whatever. Talk about two opposite things. Now, I like Harry Potter. I give it an 8. I wouldn't say it's better than anything Disney's done, though. I think that's a real stretch. You know what I mean? It's the best thing Universal's ever done by far, but I wouldn't say that it's better than anything at Disney. Certainly better than Toy Story Land. I would say on the level of Galaxy's Edge. It's nowhere close to Pandora. I don't think that there's even a... Volcano Bay, for sure. I'll give you that. Volcano Bay is by far and away a better park than the Disney water parks. Even with the Frozen theme of Blizzard Beach, it's not going to push it over the edge, right? So, that Gringotts ride is pretty top-notch, though. I don't like it. I think it's all right. I mean, I like the coaster-based elements of it, and I like that you feel like you're moving through. But the fact that there's no practical anything is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? I just don't dig things that don't have practical elements. It's crazy to me. It's so easy, you know? Well, yeah, I mean, Diagon Alley's they did a good job with that, right? Because it's tucked away. But the outside of it, yeah, if you're walking around where the night bus is and Grimmauld Place and all that, it's it's not very immersive. And Hogsmeade, yeah, again, you can see the velocity. If you're sitting at Hogsmeade, if you're sitting at the Hog's Head, the most popular place, the Three Broomsticks out back having a butterbeer, literally 10 feet from you, screaming by every 45 seconds is the best ride in Central Orlando. The Velocicoaster. Just screaming by you every 15 seconds. And you're sitting literally at a table at the Three Broomsticks. You're like, this is really shitty over here, you know? It's not their fault. I mean, they're trying to pack what they can into what they got, but that stuff is ridiculous over there. Ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Absolutely bananas. Disney isn't any better with their sightlines anymore. Yeah, definitely. You can't see any of the park from Pandora. When you're in Pandora, you can't see any other part of the park, regardless of what section you're in. Even if you're at the literal top, at the foot, you'd be just looking across the bridge into what looks like forest on both sides, Africa and Discovery Island. Pandora, you can't see a damn thing. You can't see anything from inside of Toy Story Land unless you're on Slinky Dog. Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land blend in that back way in a very stupid, very universal type way, I'll give you that. But the front side of Galaxy's Edge you can't see from Hollywood. They make you go into the tunnel and into it, so that's got that still. Yeah, Disney's only sight lines that are really jacked up are things like Galaxy's Edge, backside from the road, Rapunzel's Tower. Some people complain about being over the Haunted Mansion. But really, the sight lines are still really good. So, back to the discussion. Don't want to veer too far off to one side or the other. The idea of so let's recap. Park reservation system I expect to go away very quickly, very fast. See you later. I don't expect Lightning Lane to go anywhere. I expect it to maybe come down in price. If anything, it would go to that $15 fixed rate, and that perhaps if Disney was being gracious, they would exclude the individual Lightning Lanes and give the system a rehaul in terms of being able to ride rides multiple times so that it worked more similar to Fast Pass, but just was paid. I don't foresee the paid aspect of it going away. If it does, I'll be happy just like you all will be. But I don't foresee that happening just because I don't think that that's what we can expect from Disneyland or Disney World is some kind of like cheaper thing. We can expect a much more intense experience and much more expensive. Things like I think the $5,000 Star Cruiser stay will come down to a place that's closer to a $2,500 Star Cruiser stay. I think that certain things will go down in price because they're so overpriced that guests aren't utilizing them. But the things that guests are utilizing, like Savi's lightsaber builds and Genie Plus, that's how that goes. You're gonna, if the people are still buying it and paying for it, he's not changing anything. But those areas where he sees people aren't, like even the Star Cruisers got open booking 24/7, like that's not gonna fly. That was his idea after all. You know, that was a part of Galaxy's Edge. He's very proud of all that stuff, as we all know. So, you know, he was the guy that announced it. He was the guy that was there. He was, you know, Bob loves Galaxy's Edge. That's one of his crown jewels. Shanghai, Disneyland, and that are probably his two favorite things, you know. So I highly doubt he's going to come back and be like, oh yeah, the Star Cruiser that's supposed to be the most immersive part of Galaxy's Edge. The fact that you guys decided to price people out to this ridiculous extent and like it has such bad press from the first day, like how did you allow this to happen to this resort? How did you allow that to happen? It's crazy. That's what Disney gets too. They didn't think it was gonna bite them in the ass. Every single major Star Wars channel that decided to buy the $5,000 stay and wasn't a Disney channel. You got Tim Tracker and I don't want to go into names because a lot of my friends were there all like, this was the best time ever. I was like, yeah, because Disney paid for you to be there. And it's probably still pretty crap in comparison to what it could be, right? So like the fact that real Star Wars YouTubers went and then they just destroyed it, that's exactly Disney knows that their brand isn't infallible, especially if they can jack up Star Wars, you know what I mean? If they can jack up Star Wars, they can jack up anything. And Bob Iger knows that. He didn't buy that thing for $4 billion and try as hard as he did to get Star Wars from George Lucas just so that it could have the worst of all the brand like reputations of everything he owns. That's not how it works. Not how it works. Other things in the parks that people are probably looking forward to. Annual pass is returning. I don't know. I think the annual pass is a bad hit for Disney World, including guests like myself. I think that we're entitled. I think they were spoiled. And I don't think we're the ideal guest. I think the ideal guests are families on vacation in wonderment who are spending thousands of dollars because they're going to go into debt over their vacation. Their ideal person is not the annual pass holder who packs a bag full of sandwiches and their treats and like puts it in the cooler and brings their kids to Disney all day long, and everybody's got an annual pass and they push themselves in front of everybody for the fireworks and complain about everything like me. We're not Disney's ideal guest. So I don't think annual passes are a good thing for Disney. First of all, I'm surprised they even offer them. In a lot of ways, it shocks me that Disney even offers the annual pass for the price that it is. An annual pass to Disney World should cost something like $5,000 probably. The fact that it costs like $1,300 for the most expensive one is like so cheap. That'd be like if, you know, again, just to use cars, that'd be like if you could buy a Tesla for like $20,000. It just doesn't make any sense. Like that's what the Corolla costs, right? So that's why you would go to Universal for that price. Like it's, and then Universal, the pass is only like $800, $700. You're like, what the hell? How do places like this even make money off of annual pass holders? Because they're like, oh, these are the people that come the most. They'll eat the food. They'll buy the merch, and it's true, and to some extent, but. And in a lot of ways, I don't think that I think for Disney, if it was my company, I'd want like a 30-70 split. I'd want like 30% annual pass holders, like 70% people on vacations, renting hotel rooms, eating every single meal there, buying the merch, balloons, toys for the kids. Like that's you know, that would just make the most sense. You know, there's so many misconceptions about like what Walt Disney World should be because of like people have this idea. You ever hear this thing where people are like, Walt Disney World's overpriced, and Walt Disney would hate that because he didn't ever want to see people priced out of things. I don't know where that concept comes from. It's so not true. Walt Disney wasn't by any means greedy, but he was so money absent-minded in terms of Roy is famously on record as saying Walt had no concept really of money. He was an ideas guy. He was a futurist, and Roy handled the money. He certainly knew what it was like to be broke because he sold his cameras and moved out west to create Mickey and do all that stuff. But like, Walt Disney was not a money guy. So who gives a shit what Walt Disney wanted? When we talk about Walt Disney, we should talk about things like sightlines and Tron and guest experience and cast member interactions and the vibe, Imagineering, things like that. We should always say to ourselves, what would Walt do? But when it comes to how much money does that place make, none of us should ask what would Walt do, because he had no idea. That wasn't what he did. If somebody looked at him and said, hey, Walt, we don't have any money anymore for you to do all the amazing things you want to do, he would say, well, we need to make more. And they'd say, well, we charge more for tickets. And he'd go, sounds good. Like, so if you ever hear somebody saying that, like that they think Disney's overpriced and Walt Disney like wouldn't, call them out on it immediately and be like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You have no idea. Was he a family guy? Yes, all that's true. Did he have great values? Yes. Did he? Would he have wanted his parks to be visited by everybody that could possibly visit them? I'm sure all that stands true. But he also understood that without the money, he couldn't do all of his amazing futuristic ideas, so he needed to have the money. So he just let the money people charge what they needed to. And at the time, middle-class families were the people, upper middle-class families. They're the ones that went to Disney. It was not lower-class, poverty-ridden families at Disney World. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't, that's just not what it was. It wasn't that kind of a place. And it never really should be, in my opinion. I mean, people who are in that kind of a disparity, like, should not be focused on going to a place like Disney World to escape anything. Like, get focused up, get your head right, and get your world right. Like, you shouldn't be out on vacation. You're broke. I hear see how often him and Roy would fight about it. Yeah, oh God, yeah. Roy talks about it all the time. He's like, me and Walt would fight about this stuff all the time because Walt had no idea how hard it was to get the money. He would just be like, this is what we're doing. And I'd be like, how the hell are we going to afford that? And he'd be like, you'll make it work. You know? So if that's, you know, if that's where we want to be, is we want things to be all Walt level Imagineering, blue sky, everything. Every piece of construction goes super fast like it used to. Like, if that's what we want, then guess what? That costs money and pay up. So we've covered park reservations, which I do think are going to go away. Lightning Lane, which I think might find a change in its system or a decrease in price, and or both. We've also talked about annual passes. Annual passes, I don't see any huge change happening. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know what Disney values. If they value the annual pass, then there'll be tons of it. If not, then they won't be. It's all about the value that they hold. The other side of things is that I think that you're going to see an overall vibe change. It's a very hard thing to measure with numbers like the rest of these. Hello, Brianna. How you doing, Jesse, Matthew? Hi, everybody. The hard thing to measure is the vibe. The vibe's a feel. It's a feeling of the parks, and certainly the feeling of the parks have not been great. Oh, awesome! Hold on. I want to watch Pat react to the.
So I got a message while we were out, and I'm going to play this message. It's a congratulations message on the 35,000 subscribers, which is looks like it's on the verge of happening. This is from a very famous literary character, and I will let's play it now.
This is Gandalf the Grey calling to leave a pre-recorded message for my dear friend Roadtrot. Hello, Roadtrot, how are you? Well, I hear there's to be a party of great magnificence. 35,000 subscribers. An army unlike any seen before. We went on telling me weakness of men. I told him there was one man who could unite them. One man.
I sent Pat this thing earlier and he played it on his stream. And I wanted to.
Ah, that man. Congratulations again, sir. And I hope to see you soon for another adventure.
Very nice. Thank you, Gandalf. Thank you, Gandalf. It's nice to have a following in Middle Earth. And it was the Grey, which I prefer. Much more common that way. Ladies and gentlemen, yes.
Thank you, Gandalf. That was funny. Good response. I'm gonna make a coffee. It was really those three things. Everything else should get better. Star Wars should get better. Marvel should get better. Everything should get better. And if it doesn't, then, well, it just goes to prove my point that the CEO really doesn't even matter. Which is a thing that I've actually thought for a while. But I don't know, things started getting weird, Chapek with all, so then I started thinking, man, maybe something is a little different. So now it's really going to prove it, If things go back to kind of like normal and good, that means that it's from the top down. But if you still go to the parks and everybody's still mean and everybody's still in a rush and there's still a reservation system and you still gotta pay $30 extra a day if you want to ride every single ride, and the prices of everything continue to go up, and they get rid of everything that you like, kite tails, harmonious, keep all the stuff that you hate, the ugly ass castle. Just don't make any sense. These don't make no sense. Know what I mean? That don't make no sense. Donkulous, you know? All right, coffee time. I need a little bit of coffee. You heard? I need that coffee. It's good news. That's the most important takeaway from everything, is that this is excellent news for all of us. We should all be better happy. The future looks bright. Yeah, dude. And you think I'm gonna and we're gonna hang out again, and this time you're gonna sit on the other side of the table? No, I'm just kidding. Dude, I was sick for days, bro. What the hell did you have? You had to change your flight to tomorrow instead of tonight. Why is that? What happened? Airline trouble? What's the deal with airplane food? You ate it on the airplane. It's on the plane. It's on the food. Eat the airplane food. Eat the food. What's the deal with airplane food? What's the deal with Canada? Sup? I can't wait for James Gunn to force Kevin to make good movies again. Well, I mean, you got to admit, Wakanda Forever was a bop. Ryan Coogler, that guy, he's got my trust. He's got my trust moving forward. I know that the Black Panther movies are going to be good. If he's ahead of it all, then I'm happy. But yeah, dude, I feel you, man. It's been a mess, right? The MCU's been a mess. It's all downhill. So hard, too. It's going so hard. You wouldn't have thought after Endgame it would have fallen, and Infinity War would have fallen off as hard as it did, but God bless. The amount of hours I had to watch of bad superhero Marvel stuff from Disney Plus was insane. At least Cassian Andor's been fire. Proving that Disney's still got it if they can just focus up on what we like. They're like, oh, it's so crazy that the Star Wars show with brothels and like guys talking about whacking their kids around and like all this crazy stuff that you would never expect from Disney. That happens to be the show that's the most successful among Star Wars fans. Couldn't believe that. Remember that in Andor when the guy was talking about his son? He was like, what would you do with your kid if he was acting? He was like, I'd give him a stern hand, backhand. I was like, what the hell is a Disney show? I had flu-like symptoms. You had COVID is what you had, bro. You had a goddamn coronavirus is what you had. You didn't have the coronavirus. You didn't have corona fucking 19. But you had Corona 5. Believe me, because I don't get sick from anything else besides that damn virus. That's the only one. Time after time. I've gotten 4 of those things now. Delta, Omicron, whatever the hell they want to call it. It's all just COVID. It's all just freaking COVID. Disenchanted. Disenchantment. How about Hocus Pocus 2? Terrible reviews on that too. Are you kidding me? That's how messed up Disney's brand is that they brought back their most popular Halloween thing of all time and that it flopped. Nobody even wanted to watch it. How about all the live actions? Pinocchio with Tom Hanks. People thought it was, they gave it like 2 out of 10. Didn't Robert Zemeckis direct that movie? Like, how are these things going so bad? She-Hulk was rough, but at least with She-Hulk every week I watched it twice. Just to cringe, you know, like I'd watch it once to be like shocked and awed, and then I'd watch it again to laugh because I was like, once I got over how cringy it was, I could actually laugh at it. Because it was funny in the stupidest, most stupid way ever, as long as you weren't taking it serious at all. I had to forget it was a part of the MCU, this thing that I revere and love beyond all measure, and I think it's like this triumph, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a part of that. If I just watched it like Snakes on a Plane, I'm laughing at it because I'm like, damn, this is stupid. You feel me? So She-Hulk at least had that. Unlike WandaVision, which I loved, and then the ending just drove me crazy because I was like, what the hell? I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Vision, talking to Vision about the ship of Theseus. I'm like, oh my god, we're having a philosophical debate is how this fight ends. The ship of Theseus. Plato, Party of One. I don't even think Plato was the ship of Theseus. What came up? Maybe that's just a general theory. Maybe it's a general philosophical theory. Anyway, I was just like, what the hell am I watching? And then Loki sucked. I hated Loki. I think I liked the first 2 episodes, and then I was like, this is terrible. Skipping it. Like skipping it, pew, 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 skipping like ahead, 10 seconds at a time, like get this over with. Kang was great at the end, fantastic. I thought Moon Knight was great for the first 2 episodes too, and then I was like, this show sucks. Miss Marvel, I think I liked the first episode because I thought it was very different, the way it was shot like that with all the graffiti and everything. I visually thought it was very Spider-Man, like young and all that. But then when I realized what they were doing with their powers, I was like, oh, I hate this show. And She-Hulk, again, that was just like hella cringe. I mean, Hawkeye was kind of, I guess, my second. Like I put that under WandaVision because it was like, you could deal with it. It had Jeremy Renner, and it was like, it was, you know, it was okay. It was like, I like Haley Steinfeld a lot too. I think, you know, I'm a huge fan. Oh God, Falcon Winter Soldier. I always forget that it even happened. See? Carly Rosenthal. What was that, the girl's name? What was the girl's name? Carly, the girl's pissed that everybody had the super so. God, I forgot that show even happened. Carly Morgenthau, that was it. Guy was terrible. I didn't like any of it, man. Honestly. Because here's the tough thing, is if I had to put it on my MCU list, it would all rank so low. Like, even WandaVision, which was by far my favorite MCU show. WandaVision, my favorite by far. I would have to go look at the list. I don't even know where it would fall. If I had to compare it to the movies, like, maybe something around, like, the Ragnarok kind of level. Something like that. Like a Ragnarok-ish kind of level. Oh my God. I'm so stupid. I forgot to do everything in my coffee just now. I forgot to do all the things that I was supposed to do. Like, first of all, get the sugar. So I'm going to tell you right now that if you think about what has happened to the MCU post Infinity War, the reality that it survives past Secret War is, in my opinion, very, very, very thin. Especially with a guy like Kevin Feige being in charge, depending on who the CEO is of Disney at that time. I do think, like with Star Wars, they would have to make a collective decision to kind of pump the brakes. Maybe not the end of the MCU forever, but with Secret War, when they bring back RDJ, when they bring back Chris Evans, and, you know, at that point, probably, you know, Chris Hemsworth's going to be gone by then, Paul Rudd's going to be gone by then, they will have had to have come back by then, you know what I mean? So, like, this movie, like, Secret Wars is probably going to just have everybody, you know, literally. You know, it sounds like Hugh Jackman's coming back in Deadpool, so, like, I mean, it's going to have probably every single superhero. If Kevin Feige, because he's the biggest nerd as all of us, right? Like, he wants what we all want. If they could put every superhero, basically, that ever appeared on a movie screen in that movie. You're talking any original X-Men, any new X-Men by then, all Tobey, Andrew, and Tom Holland, all the Spider-Verses. You could bring back the OG Fantastic Four if you wanted, which would be tough because Chris Evans would be playing two dudes, Captain America and the Human Torch. You could, I mean, and then the whole MCU, everybody from the MCU, you know what I mean? Like, and then you could bring back Wesley Snipes as Blade. Wesley Snipes dead? He's got to be alive, right? Wesley Snipes. I don't know, actually. Isn't that crazy to think? Like, they could just bring back every single thing that they have rights to, put it in Secret War, and then it would just make sense that that would be the last movie ever because there'd be nowhere else to go, right? It'd be like, that was it. Ta-da, that was all the superhero movies ever, and now Hollywood's going to go back to something else. Right? Like, that would just make the most sense. Wesley Snipes is alive, y'all, so he can come back as Blade. They can have Mahershala Ali's new Blade and old Wesley Snipes Blade, all the Spider-Man, all the X-Men, everything you ever seen in the movie. Every superhero ever. And what would be cool is it would be nice to be able to, like, watch those back. You know, it would start giving people a chance to, like, you know what's going to be tough, and I've said this about the MCU a lot in my life. Have you ever found out about a television show too late? For example, were you somebody that didn't know about Game of Thrones until maybe the last season? and all your friends and everybody was telling you, oh my God, you gotta watch this Game of Thrones. It's the last season. Everywhere you went to get on the subway, there were posters. You went on Times Square, there was billboards. You were like, what is this? Like, oh, I'll watch it, right? Because I want to know what's going on. But then you look and you're like, oh, that would take hundreds of hours. So sometimes when things get too big and you haven't been there since the beginning, they become too big for new fans to really become invested. Most shows stop before that time comes. Unlike The Walking Dead, which just had its finale. There are some shows that go far beyond, and but very few do. Most of them kind of like hit that 7-8 season max, and they're like, they know that there's kind of a backside to this where you will never get any new fans, right? And the same thing is true with Star Wars. Why do you think Star Wars had fans for 40 years like that? Because you only had to have watched 6 movies. You know what I mean? It was easy. If you were a Star Wars fan, it was easy. Some people would say, have you read the books? And if you said no, they didn't think you weren't a Star Wars fan. They just didn't think you were a nerd. Nowadays, just to call yourself a Star Wars fan, technically, wouldn't you have had to have seen everything that's been released for Star Wars? Most people have never seen Clone Wars. Most people have never seen Rebels. It's crazy. And that's the best Star Wars. Most people have never played Knights of the Old Republic. It's weird. But back then, it was easy to be a Star Wars fan because you'd say to somebody, have you seen Star Wars? And they'd say no. And you didn't have to say, oh, well, you got to watch 9 movies. You got to watch 2 entire TV shows. Also, 3 independent solo movies. And there's a couple video games you should play. Fallen Order and Knights of the Old Republic. And they're like, what? Am I going to get a degree at the end of this? Are you going to give me a prize? Like, why the hell would I do that? And you're like, oh, because it's so worth it. You got to think about what that's like saying that to somebody. You know, it's like, what? Is it worth it for them? Because for you, it's got nostalgia. It's got a lot of stuff, you know. It's easy for you. You've grown up with it. And the MCU is way beyond that point. And it somehow has survived. Somehow, with 20-something movies to watch, every once in a while, you can convince somebody. You can say, hey, well, before Endgame and Infinity War, I should say, right? Those were the last 2 that kind of would. I don't think the MCU finds new show. Yeah, Resistance sucked though. I guess it's canon, right? Because it had like, it was canon. Two seasons of Resistance, right? Or 3? I think it's 2. The first one's a tight season, maybe. That show was not great, but you have to have seen it. You're right. You do have to have seen it. It is canon. I've watched it. I didn't really like it. Oh, really? Resistance was one of those shows for me that was tough. I was like struggling to get through. I think I have a Resistance build up here somewhere too. There's a Resistance TIE Fighter somewhere. Yep, right here. Von Rags TIE Fighter. Yep, that's Resistance. Leia, what was the droid's name? God, I Von Rag, Leia, what was this little droid's name? Sometimes with droids I get mixed up, you know, like K2SO and all that stuff, like I get it. It's like, those are the droids. This new guy too in Andor, like BBEMO, I don't even know what his name is, BMO? How many failed because they think they're better than the source material? How many adaptations failed because they think they're better than the source material? For sure. Now we have Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch. That's true, Bad Batch and Tales of the Jedi. You're so right. That's so true. That's right, Bad Batch. 2 seasons now. It's gonna have a second season. Yeah. Star Wars, it's these things, they become like, it becomes a problem. You know, it becomes a problem. You say to somebody, hey, you want to be a fan of Lord of the Rings? They say, sure. You say, watch these 3 movies. They're like, that's it? You're like, there's other 3 you can watch. They're called The Hobbit, and it's kind of like the Lord of the Rings. But you don't even need to watch them to understand. They're not really even like, and they're like, oh, really? Again, this new Amazon show that nobody's even counting as canon, so don't worry about it. And it's like, oh, cool. So I just have to watch 3 movies, and I can be like a total fan of this. You're like, yep, that's beautiful. You know, that's where it's at. It's hard to tell somebody like, hey man, the new Assassin's Creed's coming out, you should catch up. They're like, oh, how many do I have to play? Like, oh, there's only 12. You know, back in the day when Assassin's Creed 3 came out and it was like a hype game, you could be like, oh, I'll play 2 Brotherhood and Revelations, and maybe the first one, even though it was kind of dated at that point. Like, it was just, it was so much easier to catch up on franchises back when they weren't so beaten to shit. It's so hard to keep up with franchises nowadays because they're all so big. You know, it's like you want to catch up on anything nowadays. You want to watch House of Dragons? Good luck. You got to watch all of Game of Thrones. It's like, oh, great. You want to watch the new Star Wars shows that came out? You better have 20 years, 30 something years of knowledge. Oh, great. And yes, you can watch these movies without knowing them and all that stuff. Like, it's possible to, say you, like, brought your grandpa to go see Wakanda Forever, and he had never seen a single Marvel movie. Like, you probably would have wanted to show him the first Black Panther first, and that would have been it. He would have been able to understand the entire movie. Sure, there was a lot that was extra, but we would have been entertained. It was, it was emotional and it was entertaining. It was a solid action summer movie, He would have got, well, my point is, he might not have walked out of it in tears like you were, or like in any kind of state to judge it, but he just would have been like, well, in that way, to critique it, I should say, he would have just been like, that's good or bad. He'd probably be like, that entertained me. So I know what I'm saying is really more specific to becoming a fan. You can casually watch whatever the hell you want, but becoming a fan of something requires effort, usually. Fandoms don't welcome people in them generously, especially Star Wars. You know how hard it is to be a fake Star Wars fan and like hang out with real Star Wars fans? It ain't easy. They're gonna crap on you, and they're gonna shun you. Star Wars fans are the worst. As I've said many times, we are the worst fandom of any fandom that exists. We are like the most divisive, needy, self-entitled, know-it-all people that ever existed. It's crazy to be a Star Wars fan. So to be a fake Star Wars fan, good luck with that. You might as well. That's a losing battle right there. Star Trek. The reason I've only ever seen those movies once, that I use some of the references loosely, like a normal person, is because I would never try to tell anybody I'm a Star Trek. Because if you did, you'd be like, they'd laugh you out the room unless you knew your stuff. That's what fandoms have turned into. Harry Potter fandoms the same way. Lord of the Rings fandoms very much the same way. Marvel fandoms the same way. Marvel versus DC fandom. Xbox fandom. PS2, PlayStation fandom. Fandoms are just like, nowadays it's like, first of all, they're usually at each other, and even in amongst themselves, they can't decide what they want. Disney's a great example of that, right? So many people are comparing Star Wars to Star Trek. What do you mean? Comparing them? That is too funny, man. Hey, Galen, are you still in here? Galen sent us a $25 that I'm going to add to the weekly goal, which puts us up to $300. We are going to be out in Disney World this weekend a little bit, folks, so we will be able to close out our... This will be a double weekly goal this time because I got sick. Tonight, I'm going to be starting UCS Hogwarts. I'm pretty much decided at this point. The reason I'm decided is because this top shelf, I love Mickey and Minnie, I love the Tantive, I like the Burrow, I love the Empire State Building, and I love the Stranger Things set. But I'm pretty sure that the Empire, all the way down to Mickey and Minnie up there, this whole section, I'm pretty sure that Empire State Building and the Burrow can go into the other rooms. I'm pretty sure that Mickey and Minnie could go somewhere else, either in the house or in the other room, or perhaps I could get a couple shelves and put them next to the castle or something. But I want to put Hogwarts up here, I think. And then I got, actually, now I started thinking about it. I wonder how much it weighs. Because the Coliseum's up on this side, and I don't think Hogwarts can weigh more than the Coliseum, but I guess it, no, it can't. Well, it depends on what the plate, like, it depends on what kind of bricks they use. Because that thing's got 3,000 more bricks, but they're smaller. But that thing's got a lot of small bricks, too. I don't think it'll be heavier. So it should be able to sit up there just fine. And if that's the case, then it's time. You know, that's still one of the kids. It's probably still, to this day, in my opinion, the most gorgeous Lego set of all. So it's going to be kind of a rainy week. It's the other reason that I'm thinking it's going to be good to start it this week, because you can start tonight, go tomorrow as well. I can kind of do a big chunk tomorrow if I want. Wednesday, I can do a little bit of it during the day or not. I'm not sure. I'm going to go to Hollywood Wednesday night. Thursday is Thanksgiving. As I said to Dawn, I'm down to meet up with her and try to figure out exactly what, you know, where to go to eat, etc. But I definitely want to be in the parks a little bit to stream and finish that up. So if we can get home, you know, depending on what time we're home. Now that means that at the worst case scenario, this coming Friday, Saturday, I can do the giveaway winner while I finish up that set. That should not take more than 4 streams. The Coliseum took 4 streams. It might have taken more than that. I really know it's going to be a monster build, but I don't think it's going to take longer than the Coliseum. Did I get the pool screens fixed? Nah, dude, I've had so much stuff I've had to pay up over the past few months. That's still on the list. I just gave my power company $700. Yes, I know. I put the car ahead of the thing. I've been catching up on some bills, let's put it that way. But yeah, I gave my power company $756 today. They said, thank you. We were wondering where you've been. I said, I'm here, don't worry. They were thinking about shutting your power off. I was like, no, I'm just kidding. No, I can get my power shut off. No, I got an email earlier this week from power company. They're like, hi, you gonna pay your bill? I was like, oh yeah, definitely. I'd be happy to do that. Because it's been a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I know. You don't have to pay the whole thing. We'll put you on a payment plan. I said, no, that's okay. I said, how about I just give you the money? I was thinking about buying the Lego Eiffel Tower this week, but you know, fuck me, right? It's funny, I crack myself up. Wanted to see. I was gonna say, did that Bob Iger video ever crack 5,000 views or what? It did. Your heater stopped working. Yeah, oh, that's funny, dude. The tower or pay for power? That's so funny. You want the Eiffel Tower or do you want to keep your power? What's up, buddy? How are you? That's awesome. Who's that? Who's down? Who's in the gang? Does Dawn know that? Because Dawn's going to be here too. She has Libya's reservations right there at Saratoga at that same exact time, pretty much. So maybe we should all have a Friendsgiving together. It'd be fantastic. I would love that. Oh, okay, I got you. You guys just doing your chill out by yourself. What have you been doing, man? You been in the park or what? Because I never see you. I think I used to at least run into you every once in a while. I guess it's just between the two of us. We're probably never in the park at the same time, right? I'm always there during the week at like late night hours. You're probably there on the weekend during the day and stuff, I bet. Yeah, I've been talking to people. I don't know what I want to do on Thanksgiving because one of the tricks, you know, is that the parks have such cool food on Thanksgiving. Like Satuli has like a Thanksgiving style bowl that they do there just that day. There's a couple of like Sunshine Seasons always has like some crazy little like turkey thing. One year it was like a sandwich. It was like this crazy turkey with the breading and the cranberry sauce. You haven't been since October. Get out, bro. That's crazy. So a couple months, right? Not months, couple weeks. AK would be dope. Magical Menagerie as well. I know we'd just start there. We'd be going all over the place. Just paying everything off so you can retire. Man, that's nice, huh? You're gonna be bored, don't you think? When you're retired, or you just gonna chill out with a pina colada all day by the pool? I feel like that's the problem with young retirement, right? Is that like my grandma retired young, and she ended up like getting so bored. My grandpa too. He retired early from the fire department, and he was always like, "We're going to Florida. We're getting passes to Disney. We're going all the time." And I'm sitting by the pool relaxing, and we did that for the first year and a half. We were at Disney all the time. He was by the pool with me every single day, and then something changed. He was just like, "I gotta get back to work." We went to work at Winn-Dixie, not public. There was a Winn-Dixie in that part of Florida back in the day, and he worked in the meat department, so he could get like cheap meat and stuff, and like bring it home and cook. Casey, it's good to see you, pal. I'm hoping you're gonna book a trip down here during your winter break this year. It'd be good to finally get you down here, bro. Room's open, ready to get booked. Tom Does Disney Resort and Steakhouse. They got a lot of reservations over the next few months, so book your stay now. We have the books getting pretty full. Yep, Pierce has got 2 days at the Tom Does Disney Resort and Steakhouse. Mike and Lisa got a couple days at the Tom Does Disney Resort and Steakhouse. My parents have a day at the 2 days at the resort and Steakhouse. Jenna's got a week at the Resort and Steakhouse. Jimbo has got a week. Kaylin was thinking about maybe taking a couple days. And that's it. Pierce, Jenna, Mike, Lisa, my parents, Jimmy. Yeah, that's it. You need some days. That's funny. I like that. The Resort and Steakhouse is sometimes it's much easier. Sometimes many of you will find it's going to be far easier to book a steak dinner at the Resort and Steakhouse than it is to get an actual stay here. Those are the stays here are a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Fill in the blank. I'll let you fill it in yourselves. I will not provide a word. The resi stuff. Those are the steakhouse reservations. Those can be made. The resort side of things typically comes with a pretty hefty price tag. Pierce is kind of just, he's like just over the limit. We could consider him like the newest member of Club 33. Pierce is our newest member at the Tom Does Disney Resort and Steakhouse. He's our newest member. And that came after 2 solid years of constant PayPals. Mike and Lisa, we don't even have to go into that. They're tenured members, obviously, with gifts to this house that include things like the espresso machine and the Fluval 13.5 gallon. They have made perhaps the largest contributions to my life of everyone who's a member of the they're like, you know. You've also got other members coming by. We got my parents, they're members. We all know that what they had to do to earn their keep was raise me. That was the price they paid. What was the hundreds of thousands of dollars it took to raise me? Jenna, she's paid her price, which is just existing. Unlike everybody else that comes, I get a lot out of that. That's that one I get a lot out of too. Wink, wink. The Jimbo, come on, Jimbo's old school friend. Jimbo has just put up with me. Been there for every Marvel movie, been there to nerd out with for years. Guys like Casey, if he books the trip. Mark, Lucas, these guys, they have, they're not even members of the Tom Does Disney Resort and Steakhouse. They're members of Tom's Life. Alex got the ultimate TDD. Oh, if only he knew how lucky he is. I should message him that right now. Be like, bro, you want to hear something funny? That poor kid, man, he can't catch a break. That poor bastard. He's like my little brother. It's like watching your little brother just get punked by life. And you're just like, damn, man, what the hell? Thank God he had as many opportunities as were given to him, honestly. Those two opportunities coming down here between the new car with the Kia and the year to save up money that he had here. Without those two things, man, who knows Alex's life? It'd be... That kid, I love him, but what the fuck? He is something else. He's like my brother. He's like my little brother, honest to God. I've known him for 15 years, but longer than that. I've known Alex for coming up on 18 years. He's just like... I think since he moved out, I think I told him this the other day, like, Alex, you know since you moved out, I've seen you 4 times, right? You moved out a year and a half ago. Like, you literally moved out a year and a half ago. I've seen you 4 times. I know, I'm busy, man. I gotta work all the time. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I moved you down here so you can find a better way to, like, do things than, like, bartend all the time. But not everybody's great at that stuff. Like, a huge shout out to, I say this to Pat all the time, like, I gave Pat and Alex basically the same amount of like knowledge. I said, this is how I think that a YouTube channel should work. And look at the difference. Like Pat, like he just started his channel, and next thing you know, he not only that, but he had his own idea of how it should all work. For some people, it just kind of clicks, and now he can do that like full time and like get out there and just grind away. And That's what I kind of wanted for Alex too. Like I was like, damn, man, it'd be good to see you like do some skateboarding vlogs or some music stuff or whatever. But not everybody can be their own boss. It ain't easy. The steaks. There's a couple steaks being made over the next few months too. That's true. I gotta consider that. Pierce has a porterhouse coming his way. Full porterhouse for Pierce and me. We'll cook 2 of them. Thinking about starting something up new instead of the, I love the French fries, but I was thinking about doing something else. I saw this thing the other day where basically you take a little russet potato, basically, something like that size. You put it down and you just like take a cup or whatever and you just press down on it so that it just kind of flattens into a little mush. Not a mush, but it just like flattens out. And you hit that thing with a bunch of olive oil on top, salt, pepper, and you can just fry those. And that would be so much more like artisan than just making the fries, you know what I mean? You say I'm so handsome? Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. I try. I got all my best product on today. It's called soap and water. Kind of new potato feel. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say new potato, but I was thinking about like how would I make it like what could I do to it that would really like not combat the blue cheese on the steak, but like add another layer. I just can't think of it. I've been trying. But I think those would be cool to just kind of do that, to like mash them, olive oil, salt, pepper, whatever. Look at these fish just fighting each other. Yeah, I think you're right. Salt, pepper, olive oil, I think you're right, honestly. That might just be the secret, because that's what makes the fry so good, is it's just a fried starch with salt and pepper. So I think if you just did it fresh, with like a fresh potato, like... I think that if everybody's gonna start coming, but here's the thing is that I'm gonna have to try it first, obviously, right? Because if I try these things and they're not better than the French fries, then there's no point in moving. Because if the French fries are better, they're better. So I will have to make a steak between now and then to try to see what's good with these potatoes. I could just make the potatoes, but then I won't have the steak to eat it with, and then it's a whole bite thing. The other thing I really got to step up before my parents get here, and because this one, the steak's going to knock my dad's pants off. He's going to be so shocked at how good that thing is. And my stepmom's really going to love it too, because she likes a good steak. But what's going to really impress her is if I could make some kind of like a dessert because she's like the pie master. I'll tell you what, she cooked a lot of food for me and I hated it all. If she's on here, Erin, your food was terrible. But your pies were the best fucking pies. She made the best pies, man. She was so good at it. I don't know why she was so good at making pies, but she was. And I had that blueberry crumble a couple weeks ago from the Wilderness Lodge, and all I've been thinking about is like, if I could recreate that thing after the steak dinner, that blueberry tart would be the perfect dessert. Because the steak has this gamey, footy, blue cheese, pepper, all kinds of just deep, rich earthiness. And then if you finish that up, not with a chocolate dessert like the s'mores, but if you finished it up with something that was fruity, pastry, vibrant, like a blueberry has those high notes with, you know, vanilla ice cream, Haagen-Dazs, I think that you'd be kind of like really on this pendulum of like, whoa, those were two excellent things. The s'mores thing's good and I eat it, but it's not anywhere close to that steak. That steak is what, I need something that's as good as that. Lady Di in the house, where you been? Make sure you hit the like button for me. You know, I just had a thought. I just had a thought. I was like, the UCS, if I'm building UCS, I'm Pat streaming all day, but I'm going to text him, see if he wants to, I don't know if he ends early perhaps or whatever, if it gets cold out there, maybe he wants to come by and crack that thing. I mean, he's been here for all the big sets, Coliseum. Well, he technically wasn't here for the Disney Castle. I built that on my own. But everything else he's been here for. He started the lighthouse, started the treehouse. He wants to start that one. Lady Di, what are you out of here? He says he misses you. My husband and I have been sick. Oh, God. Me too. I've been sick as hell. As hell. Sick as hell. How about, did you guys watch the Rings of Power? What'd your son think about the Rings of Power, being a Tolkien fan like he is? Did he hate it as much as I did? Leonardo, always here for the big stories. Coffee's so good. I will say, I think I'm developing a little bit too much of my body's getting a little too addicted to the caffeine levels that I've been putting in me since I got that thing. I knew it was going to happen too. Back in the day, like every once in a while, like I would have a little bit, like kind of like I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, I could use a coffee, but I never craved it. Ever. Even when I was getting it at Starbucks and Joffrey's and stuff. now, like, even last night, like, after I had that one earlier, because I had the coffee way earlier yesterday than I usually do. I usually have it at night, right? Like, I usually have a coffee out in the parks during the day because it's a weaker coffee. And then when I get home, I have my espresso. I had the espresso so early yesterday that by the time it kind of wore off, like, I wanted more so bad that I was actually like, I was kind of like, I started getting a little bit like, you know. And I'm not one of those kind of guys to peel back on stuff. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of having to not enjoy things, you know? My son thinks they've gone off too far from the book. Yeah, it was terrible. The show was awful. I'd be happy to talk to him about it in length. Yeah, it was terrible. Look at these fish, just bastards to each other. I love that. I really need to go down to that fish store and get something else to just break up the party. Something that they're all afraid of, like a triggerfish or something that they're all just terrified of, so that they don't pick on each other anymore. They're all just so scared of him. Yeah, I could talk Lord of the Rings all day. You want to hear a funny story? So I called my family yesterday, and my whole family's basically like up in Rhode Island right now, all together. And so I called just to say hi to everybody. It's Sunday. I'm like, I figure I'll say hi to everybody at once. My nephew's 8. I haven't seen him in like 4 years. I don't really talk to him a lot either because he's 8. And we talk every once in a while, but I hadn't really talked to him in like a couple months, like a real conversation. Like usually somebody just says like, say hi, and I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, that's it. But my grandma like put me on the phone with him yesterday. She was like, you gotta talk to him because he wants to know about Disney. He's coming to Disney. They're coming to Disney in February. So I'm like, okay. So at first, you know how I am with kids. I'm like, what's up? You know, how you doing, man? You good? How's you like, having a good time? What do you like to do? Skateboard? Play soccer? Like, what do you like? I'm just asking like random ass questions. Like, what's your favorite color? You know, stuff, like. But as I started getting into it, I was kind of like, oh, like, what do you like to do? Like, what have you been into lately? Like, what do you watch? Like, what do you do? Like, I was like, you like Pokemon? Or anything like that? He's like, oh, I love Pokemon. And I'm like, the last time we talked, I don't even think he knew what Pokemon was. I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, really? I'm like, who's your favorite Pokemon? He's like, oh, Talonflame. I was like, what? I'm like, bro, deep cut, Talonflame. I'm like, that's cool. He's like, yeah. I'm like, so you watch, you watch Pokemon Journeys? He got so excited. He's like, you watch Pokemon Journey? I'm like, yeah, man, I've seen every episode like 5 times. He's like, I love Go. I'm like, yeah, what's Go's goal? He's like, to be the world master. I'm like, no, that's Ash's goal. He's like, oh, you're right. Go's goal is to catch every single Pokemon, one of each Pokemon. I'm like, yeah, including? It's like, Mew. I'm like, dude, good for you. Like, you're a true fan. My grandma, she was like, how do you know all that? I'm like, you bunch of old farts. I'm like, none of y'all stayed young. That's the problem with all y'all in this family. That's what I want to tell them all. I'm like, you all got tons of wisdom and you're hardworking people and I admire y'all, but goddamn, you're all so old. I'm like, sometimes I might feel like I'm 85 or whatever, but then I think about like how hip with it I am and I'm like, damn, like I might as well be 12 really sometimes. With the memes like I like and I laugh at, with like the idea that I'm still obsessed with things like Pokemon, like, yeah, I might as well be 12. I mean, look at this fucking Lego collection. Like, I might as well be 12, honest to God. Like, he was telling me, he's like, oh, I'm building Lego Ninjago right now that he calls Graham. He calls my grandma Graham. He was like, the Graham brought me. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, you know how many Legos I have? Like in my head, I'm like, dude, I have I got more. I'm like, if you could see my house, your freaking jaw would hit the floor. It just kind of cracks me up to think like that's just like, you know, it's just funny. Tom, is the guy that crashed into Middle Earth Gandalf? Is it Gandalf? Oh, I'll do my best Gandalf for you.
You're wondering if that was me who crashed there in the fires of the hobbits. Hashtag not my Gandalf. Why don't I know how to speak? How did I go from that to this? These aren't the same hobbits that I know. Why are all these hobbits so dirty? Is that shit in your hair? Bilbo Baggins did not have shit in his hair. Sauron the Deceiver. Looking a little pretty for my taste. Hashtag not my Sauron. And this is Galadriel. She must have changed a bit since I knew her. Did she just jump off of that boat into the ocean? And she's going to swim to Middle Earth. My God. Doesn't she know it's an awfully long way? Ah, yes. Galadriel. Lady of Light. And also, apparently, some type of samurai warrior. I remember when Aragorn, Legolas, myself, Gimli, and the hobbits, along with Boromir of Gondor, could barely take down one cave troll. She killed it without even looking at it. Makes us all seem a little weak.
They're Harfoots. Harfoots. Harfoots are just hobbits. There was only 3 branches of hobbits. Stores, Harfoots, and... Oh, come on, Tom. How do you not know the 3 branches of hobbit? Stores, Harfoots, Fallowhides. Yeah. We can go back to Gandalf.
The main problem being that hobbits did not exist in Middle-earth until early in the Third Age, and that this show takes place in the Second Age. Therefore, incredibly inaccurate.
I have Pokemon on my phone. Everybody got Pokemon on their phone. When Gandalf pulls out the pipe. Gandalf, my old friend, this will be a night to remember. am. Now that was a demon right there. He's gone. An electrician friend also died. Man, everybody dies, doesn't they? Don't they? Isn't that the weird thing that everybody dies? I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, Leonardo. You're always telling me about people dying and bad shit. Like constantly. I don't know what to tell you, man. What is there to eat? Quickly. Something that would not take any effort to make and would still taste good. I don't have anything like that, right? Because the reality is what I want is these freaking dino nuggets. So that's what I'm going to make. Oh, I can make the rest of these jalapeno poppers. Were these things any good? I didn't really like them, did I? Might as well eat them though, or else they're gonna go bad and stuff like that. So, what's the oven? 450. Yeehaw! Get along, little doggy. Oh, that's a good sign. Does my thing say it is 77 degrees in here? It does, meaning I can open the doors. Hell yes. Oh, and this is open. What? I can open even more doors, get some fresh air in here without it getting cold. That's a change of pace for the past few days, because it's been getting cold. Oh, it's beautiful outside. Oh my God. Jesus Christ, it's nice out here. Holy moly. Dude, it is beautiful out. That's about as nice a day as you could ask for. Oh, you know what else I'm gonna do? Oh, actually, no, I'm gonna do it right now. Don't go in the pool. Don't go in the pool. Don't fall in that pool. Oh, let's switch the pool filter. see if I even have to change this. I might not even have to change this. Pumps off. Hey, what's up, boss? How are you? I'm good, bro. I'm good. Yeah, you too. Oh, yeah. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, God. Yeah, look at this thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, night and day. Okay, it's done. Close that. Back up. Perfect. Okay. Get something stuck in my foot. Yeah, man, I usually go live for hours and hours and hours. This is Adventureland loop right here, as Michael just pointed out to y'all. I stay live, dude. I stay live. I want the good sense. I want just some good stuff. Well, the Lego side of this is going to start pretty soon. We've got quite the project on our hands. This is what we're doing today. This is our project. In all its glory. UCS Hogwarts. $6,020 pieces. That's what we're doing today. Beginning. Jenna just texted me. She said, Kanye's back on Twitter. Oh my god. Hey, this dude. Kanye! He is crazy, dude. Kanye is crazy. That tweet has 500,000 likes. Well, I don't know how many hours of today I'm going to be able to invest in this thing. I'm saying I'm hoping 5. My goal is 5. I want to do at least 5 hours of this, depending on how the base plates are. Depending on how this thing is sectioned out, I don't want to do about 5 hours. Should be pretty doable. I'm not going to build the whole thing in 5 hours. I'm saying I want to probably spend at a max about 5 hours on the build. I think altogether this will probably be a pretty monstrous build. So make sure you come on to Bricks Live here in a little bit. We'll be starting up on that. Look at that, the breeze coming through. It's nice. Make sure you come stop by the Bricks Live, where I'll be sitting here at this table putting together that there Harry Potter set. Starting to put together that there Harry Potter set. Excuse me. Wow, I was just about to say, this is a breeze. Oh, the poppers are done. Poppers! Poppers! All right. Okay. I think that's it for this part of the stream. yeah, that's it. We're gonna end. I'm gonna take a little quick break and then we'll start up the Lego. We'll jump over to Bricks Live. For what is going to be probably about the 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock stream. Maybe, you know, it might be 3 to 7. I might only have 4 hours of Lego building in me, but it will definitely be that. And I look forward to seeing you all there. That's going to be a great set. So I'll be taking entries for the giveaway the whole time as well. If you want to come into the Advent Calendar giveaway, you can do that. Amy G just gave you the link if you need the link to go find the Bricks Live. We'll be clicking and clacking. If y'all want to hit that like button here, the last few, we only need 3 more likes. I think we could get those last few likes before we end. For this channel this week, tomorrow's going to be another at-home day, but Wednesday we'll be in Hollywood Studios. Thursday we will be in the parks for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll be doing that, and Friday, Saturday most likely we'll be just doing the Lego for this week, but I'm trying to ramp the Lego back up for the holiday season. You know what I'm saying? Can you add my name, Tom? It's spelled Naomi. To enter the giveaway, you can enter during the brick stream, okay? I'll see you guys over there. I can't take entries here. That's not fair to everybody. That's it. I'll see you guys about 3 o'clock on Bricks Live for the awesome, monstrous UCS Hogwarts build. Been waiting to build that thing for years. Okay? Okay. I'll see you there. Thanks for chatting about the future of Disney. I'm very hopeful. And I know you guys are as well. Good night. I'll see you over there. Or I'll see you tomorrow if you're not a Bricks watcher. Peace.